There was two things that inspired me to do this video. One is one of my subscribers, and I also subscribe to him. His name is Variablast, and he posted a video saying that somebody had posted comments in one of his videos using ad hominem attacks. And the other one is an article that I've recently read in Skeptic magazine. This is volume 15, number 2. And the article is called Why Religions Turn Oppressive, A Perspective from Evolutionary Psychology. And the authors of the article are Robert Kurzban and Peter DeScioli. I hope I'm saying that right. And it's something that's been on my mind for a while. I get a lot of ad hominem attacks myself because of the way I look, especially. And it made me very curious as to why do people specifically attack the way that I look, when it's really none of their business. And if you go and watch Variablast's videos, you'll notice he has a very prominent tattoo on his face. So I'm sure that he gets insulted a lot more than I do, just because it's so prominent. And I'm going to try something different with this video. I've actually taken notes, so we'll see how well this works out. I'm trying to make my videos more succinct, but so first of all, the authors of this article state that there's two different phenomenons that functional accounts of morality can focus on, and the two things that they listed are conscience and condemnation. Conscience is our psychological perspective of what is right and wrong, and then condemnation is holding others to our moral standards and desiring to see them punished if they commit a wrong act. Conscience itself is built by our culture. There's really no getting around that. People of the Yanomamo tribe have a different conscience than we do. For example, when their wives and any woman in the tribe goes out of line, they think that it's okay, they think that it's moral to hit them with sharpened sticks or burn them with coals. So to them it's moral, and to us it's obviously not. And it's also arguable that they're also not moral, but that's a different conversation for a different day. I'm going to quote from the article here. Conscience defends against moral accusation by guiding one away from behaviors that will draw punishment. So, of course, we don't want to be punished by doing things that are wrong, but how do we decide what's wrong? We have our own perceptions, as well as our culture has its own perceptions, so we have to find that midline where both meet together. And it makes sense, too, evolutionarily, that people would be shunned or punished from the group by doing something different unless it's an adaptation that's advantageous to the individual or the group. Now in these modern times, it's not necessarily something we have to worry about. You're going to have people out there who are going to do things that are not so good for the group. The soldier that just recently shot a bunch of his colleagues at Fort Worth, killing in general or harming in general is something that is still immoral, I think, to almost everybody's standards. Because it makes sense. It's you're hurting other people in your group. You're not letting them propagate their genes, which, at our most primal, is the whole reason that we live the way that we do. Now I'm going to bring this back to religion, and I'm going to connect these two things because I think that they are very closely interconnected. So why are humans so concerned about others' acts, especially those that do no harm? So if they've already reached a judgment about something, all they're going to do is generate a justification for it. When people tell me I shouldn't have that lip ring in, when I ask them why, usually it's very hard for them to come up with a legitimate reason other than it looks unprofessional. But then professionalism is also a standard of morality which is against the culture. And guess what? Morality changes too. The way that I'm bringing this back to religion is because I think religions are the biggest propagators of what they believe to be the moral absolutes of our culture. Not just their religion, our culture. I think that a lot of people like myself and Variablast are getting judged according to religious moral standards that people just haven't let go of, whether they call themselves religious or not. I think religion, especially Christianity, has so far ingrained itself within our culture that now we have these morals, these moral absolutes that we are supposed to follow. So why would the church even make up these rules? How is it advantageous to them at all? I'd like to read another quote from the article. One possibility is that religions are like bullies. One feature of bullying is that attacks are often made for no reason aside from the ease of attacking the target. Such attacks can be used to establish dominance, or at least a reputation as someone to be feared and obeyed. By forcing obedience in trivial matters, even harmless ones, religious leaders establish a reputation for punishment that allows dominance in more meaningful aspects of life. I'm just using Christianity as an example because it's so interstitched with my personal culture. Over the years, religions have made rules for their members to follow. And why would you make rules? But to make sure that the people that you're making the rules about, make sure that they know that they're subordinate to you, that they have to follow you. And obviously the advantage to that is you now have a giant religion where people are listening to you all the time, no matter what you say. Because once they step outside of those boundaries and they break your rule, then they get punished. Whether it be by you or by the group, or probably both, which happens in a lot of instances in religions. So why would religions start to force their rules on people that are not members? Well, according to the article, and I think that this holds itself very true, is it's a way to signal the will and capacity to use force. So it's basically a way for the religions to say, look, we're fucking crazy. And also it's easier to attack non-members because you avoid skirmishes within the group, which is always advantageous for your group. So by looking the way that I do, by having my nostrils pierced, my lip pierced, and when I dyed my hair, just by being who I am, I already offend people. Now, whether or not they can tell me why I offend them or not, it's usually they can't. But the fact of the matter is that I offend people just being who I am. And that's a great and wonderful thing because it's so easy. When I was thinking about this question today, I just kept asking myself why, to get back to the root of the answer. Okay, well, why would they find me offensive for having a lip ring? Okay, it doesn't look professional. Why doesn't it look professional? Because most professionals don't have lip rings. Why don't they have lip rings? Why isn't it okay to have a lip ring within the professional world? See, and then I can't go back any farther than that. Like, there's no reason for it that I can find, unless I am a boxer. But my argument is that Christianity as a religion has so infiltrated our culture that it's now made the rules for us to follow. And when we don't follow those rules, we get judged according to their moral standard, which is obviously not my moral standard. And since I'm not hurting anybody by having a ring in my lip, there's really no reason for me to get punished, for me to get insulted. But of course they're not going to listen to that because they're used to somebody telling them what to say and what to think. And when they're left to their own devices, it usually doesn't go very well.